The Soybean School on RealAgriculture.com is brought to you by Pride Seeds, Nodulator Pro, and Cruiser Max Vibrance Beans.
Bernard Tobin here on the Soybean School, joined by Rob Miller from BASF. Hey, thanks for coming out. How's it going?
Pretty good, all things considered.
Look, all things considered, we'd like to be going a little more, but weed control is sort of like parked, just like a lot of things this spring. Rob, we're going to have a condensed spring here when things get rolling, but I guess your message, your biggest message here is, don't skip that burn down.
Yes, definitely. So with the fall that we had last year, we weren't able to do a lot of the fall weed control. So we do see some of those winter annuals and perennial weeds fairly large. Even compared to a week ago, I'd say the Canada fleabane in this field that we're sitting in here is about double the size. Oh. So don't skip the burn down, especially if you're not growing any of the new herbicide tolerant traits that are available on the market, because once the beans come up, it's extremely difficult to control some of those problem weeds, such as glyphosate resistant Canada fleabane.
What about tillage? Where might that play a role this spring?
Yeah, so some people might be considering, doing a little bit of light tillage with a vertical tillage implement, maybe try to level out some of the ruts from the challenges from last fall. Number one rule is spray prior to doing any tillage implement, because tillage, especially the vertical tillage, isn't really a means of weed control. It just pisses weeds off. So we actually, you can actually cover up some of the weeds. You don't get the good herbicide activity. It doesn't really uproot some of the weeds and actually do a very good job at weed control. So spray prior to doing any tillage implement, and also consider doing at least 3 days, waiting 3 days before doing that tillage, just to allow the chemical to work properly.
Let's talk about I guess some best management practices here. I'm looking around, we got a lot of dandelion hiding here under trash, we got a lot of fleabane hiding under trash. I guess water volume is going to be a big point.
Yes, definitely. So in this field, we have a lot of corn residue, heavy corn residue. We start to see some of the weeds emerging on that. Number one rule, regardless of the chemistry that you're using, whether it's Kicksoar technology, dicamba, or 2,4-D, higher water volumes. Coverage is key, especially on some of these larger weeds. Or if we are delayed by 2-3 weeks, like I said earlier, some of these weeds have actually doubled in size already. Get them when they're smaller, actively growing, and larger weeds, larger surface area. Coverage is key. 20 gallons per acre.
What about, a 2-pass program here this year? I mean, you might get a chance to get in early, and you may have to come back late.
Yes, definitely. So it's best to do use multiple effective modes of action, especially at planting. Allow the beans to get off to the best start possible, similar to what we talked about in corn. And then also come back in using, maybe just cleaning it up using a soil applied residual herbicide up front, and then doing that 1-pass in-crop herbicide option to control any future escapes as well.
Hey, final point, and a big point. I'm walking around here, and a lot of volunteer corn. I think we're probably going to see some issues with that this year. How do you tackle it?
Yeah, definitely. So with the challenges that we had in the corn crop with Dawn, we changed a lot of our combine settings last fall. We're going to have a lot more volunteer corn this year. Might even come in a little bit earlier, depending on what the spring holds. Number one rule is we do see some antagonism with some of the Group 4 herbicides, such as dicamba with the Group 1s on that volunteer corn and on weed control in general. So let's control some of these winter annuals and perennial weeds now, and split that application and come back in with the volunteer corn option, whether it's right after planting or early post-emerge as well in soybeans.
Right. Hey, good stuff. Hopefully we'll dry up and get rolling.
Yep.
Awesome.